Okay, here we go. It's your boy Kamal Hart on the chart, and I'm going bar by bar, like always. We'll get this thing started here, like 5:30. So off top, um, there's a pretty nice leg up and a break outside, and we're making an attempt to the highs. Looks like it fails there, and now we're starting to close back below the EMA. Um, in fact, this was a reversal pattern off that high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give that a channel, probably up here. It's a little wider than I typically like doing it, but it seems like it fits okay. It was kind of tempting to go short there, just off that reversal pattern, the failed second entry long, but especially when this it triggered on this bar, so when that bar closed back inside, you knew something was a little off. Um, and then actually, a little too aggressive, but I saw that long just off this congestion, maybe buy it and then you'd sell up here. But it's not really worth it. It's just a little low key aggressive trade that I saw in the and it's actually a reversal pattern off this low. It reverses on that signal bar right there. So really, we're just kind of stuck in the middle of this range going sideways. So I gotta wait. And we're finally kind of getting this push higher. We're below, now we're above and made a new move past the swing. So I just want to be aware of that, give it a little micro trend. That's going to be our first entry to the lows. That's not the one we want to sell. And then right there, that's a good sell. That's actually the trade I took this morning. I only took one trade this morning, and that was this one. My setup was a little cleaner. It didn't this red bar didn't break the green bar in terms of it triggering. So had I have seen it like this, I might not have liked it as much. But either way, it's a second entry short, pretty strong trigger bar. Um, Not much more you can say on that. Yeah, and there's my entry right there. And I just had my take profit down here by the lows, an arbitrary 3 point runner target. So I got the scalp and then I got the runner all in the same bar. It was pretty quick, pretty nice. Um, so we're still kind of moving down. What I want to do here is maybe extend my lines just a little bit and see how we hold. It's reasonable to say that we probably have a break outside, and now this is a move to a new low. So I want to be a little bit careful of that. And now that we're kind of trending down, I want to be mindful that maybe there's a range here. It's not quite confirmed yet, in my opinion, but there's a potential range. Looks like it's sitting somewhere in here, somewhere in there. And then that gives us a midline. Probably midline here, somewhere in there. So we're bouncing off the lower side of the channel. For now, I'm playing the channel, but we're also maybe in a range. So I want to just be careful. I don't want to get short on this side of the range. Okay. So right there, you kind of get that lower high off these highs, but that's not a great setup. And then right there, you get a reversal pattern, and that triggers on the lower side of the range. Let me make sure I have it right. The way I had it, I think it triggered on the midline. That looks like it's pretty close. Yeah, it's maybe just a tick lower. So it's pretty close, but really why I didn't take this trade is because we were going short right into the channel line. So that's too aggressive. Not only the fact that we're kind of shorting the lower side and we're going into this channel line, I wasn't going to take that trade, but I think it's there. It's just aggressive, and it's not that close to the EMA, so it's definitely just like an aggressive trade, and it probably should be skipped. But I saw that trade and I thought maybe I could get a quick scalp or something. Takes a little bit, but it does work down, and you would have got that scalp. Just kind of aggressive, and now we're kind of overshooting on the channel side. So let's see how this goes. Right there, you get a double bottom, which is, you know, it's a little bit sideways. So I'd be careful there. But I think that's another aggressive trade as well, going long right there. Not only are you're on the low side of the channel, it actually works out where you're on the low side of the range, so it's appropriate to be getting long on this side of the range. You're expecting it to at least touch this EMA, maybe even the other side. So you might consider that trade. And it actually does pretty well. And here, I actually had a really hard time with this trade. I really wanted to take this trade, but I just didn't, because mainly because I already had profit on the day, which is a pretty bad reason. Um, I I have a hard time taking trades when I'm green. I hate kind of giving back the profit, but this trade, you know, it's a reversal pattern. What kept me out though was that we were trending on both sides of this midline, and it was triggering right into the EMA. So I wasn't sure if we'd hit that EMA and then reverse again lower. And you know, the overall trend is down. So I don't want to counter trend this too much. So for all those reasons, I stayed out of that trade. Um, and it's a decent setup. It's not maybe the best setup, but it's a pretty good setup. I just kind of spooked myself out of it. And then right there again, when it broke lower and then closed on its highs, that's going to be a little more aggressive, but I should have at least entered on a limit somewhere in here if I didn't like this, because now I'm seeing that okay, we're getting above the EMA. That's a good look, but I didn't take that trade. And even to make it more of like a good trade, off this double bottom, that becomes a single bottom. So really that's the reversal pattern as well on this green bar. That's the first attempt to go lower, it fails, then it goes lower once more, and that fails. So both of these are reversal patterns, and I should have picked one of them and entered, but I couldn't do it today. And it kind of looks like, you know, there could be a range, but we're kind of working this upper side. It's funny, yesterday there was a range and we worked kind of like the lower side, and today we're kind of working this upper side. So we're going to see what it does from here. Okay, now that we're back at the EMA, you know, you could be looking for shorts, but I'm not right now, just because of the breakout side. We get two legs to a new low. There's definitely a reversal pattern. So really what I'm looking at is it's another kind of wide channel, but I'm looking at potentially something like this, right? Just coming across, and that's not even an entry. We need a like a lower high or something, and that lower high doesn't come, and we're kind of trending up, and this is actually a little bit steeper. So I'd probably actually go from that reversal pattern and then just try to hit all these swings right through there. So that's probably my new channel. Yeah, somewhere in here is going to be my new channel, and you can see we're kind of getting stacked up right there. So let's wait and see what's going on. I don't really want to get long on this side of the range either, so I got to kind of pick my trades wisely until I get a real sense of what's going on. Just kind of got that first, that's that first breakout. And that's a really big bear bar, but it's just a first entry. Um, you should be able to get a measured move target off leg 1. And then this is leg 2. That one just rockets off. So then now that we're up here at these highs, we want to be thinking about longs, but we need to be careful and just wait to see what we really get. Like right there, that's just like a first entry. It's nothing we can really trade. You got that sideways movement and a breakout, so you might get the breakout pullback, or it might just fade and go up to these highs. It's kind of like a breakout pullback, but not a great signal bar for the short trade. You're going pretty much into that EMA. It's not a great trade in my opinion. Just for reinforcement, you can see how we have that sort of congestion, then the breakout pullback. But this is actually a trade I do like, because this is a second entry long off these highs. First entry, when it breaks above second entry, it's sitting on the EMA. There was some congestion, so we're expecting it to come test the low side and maybe even the high side. There has been a break and a move to a new high, so that's a little bit aggressive. And we are in the upper half of the range, but see how the EMA is just supporting prices right now? That's a trade worth risking. So I don't even think it's necessarily that aggressive either. It's pretty textbook. That one's another one that shoots off. It's this trade didn't give you a lot of like if you had a limit order, it didn't tick back much, so you have to be pretty quick. If not, you needed to stop if you really wanted to get in this trade. Then here you're kind of getting a breakout, so we really just want to see what's going on, and it's breaking out pretty strongly. And then here's the a failed second entry short from this low, but it's at the highs of the day. It's looking like this is going to be a strong sort of bull trend, but you can't buy at the highs. That's too aggressive, so I'm skipping that one. What I am going to do though is maybe make this channel a little wider. Looks like there's room to make this wider. Just off these 3 lows, and probably bring the high sides or maybe up here, something like that. So you can see we're like off that midline, but we're at the highs of the day. Just a little too aggressive. So that one goes pretty well. And then all these entries are going to be just too aggressive. Not necessarily bad trades because it seems like the trend is pretty strong, but just not the best place to enter. I'd rather wait for a pullback, which will eventually come. I mean, if you took this trade, you might not even be out. There's been no swing lowers, there's been no reversal patterns. You might still be in this trade if you took that one. Like even these ones down here, you possibly are still in. So we definitely have that breakout pullback. I think on that reversal bar, we can confirm that there was a breakout pullback happening. And I like how it turned off the high side, so that makes me confident in this channel. And we're kind of pulling back to the EMA and the other side. You know, there's a second entry. Let me zoom in. There's a second entry right there, but that signal bar isn't that great off that high. First entry, second entry, and you can see how strong it triggered, but we wouldn't have been able to get into that appropriately. That one shoots off without us. It's part of the game. So as it goes, there's a little bit of an overshoot. Not super convincing, but let's make sure we're careful when it does get back over to this side. Let's make sure we see a setup before we enter. That's the double top. You know, it's really tempting to go short there, but I've I've spent years being burnt going short in trends that are higher. I don't even bother trying to take these shorts, so it's just one you got to skip. And it doesn't break higher, but when it triggers, you know, that kind of becomes your signal bar, so it's not as clean, but it would have worked. Then a break below here is a reversal pattern, but once again, I'm not really looking to go short. If anything, I just want to find a reason to get long. Like right here, this isn't a clean setup, but I have seen setups similar to this where you kind of get this bearish shooting star, but it's a green candle. And then you get this inside bull bar. Um, this pattern often works as a bull signal. It's not technically part of the strategy, but if you saw it and you kind of know what that is off the EMA in a strong bull trend, second entry long, um, you might consider that. Of course, this is your signal bar though, so you kind of have a large, not a super large stop, but it's a kind of a large stop. So you might enter this trade a little funny, but that one works pretty well. Pretty standard trade right there. That's the higher low, but once again, we're at the highs. I don't want to take a buy up there. Although on these kind of like big bull days, sometimes you have to buy near the highs. So there does need to be some sort of rule, like right here I missed a trade. Like that right there is the failed second entry short right there. Off this low, went lower once, fails, went lower again, then it closes on the highs. It's just, you know, it's really aggressive buying right there. But at some point, if you are, you know, desperately looking for a trade, you probably are going to have to buy a tick or two away from the highs because that's just how strong trends work. They spend most of their time in this upper right corner of your chart. So that one takes off. I almost want to say that's a trade. I think it's just way too aggressive, but if you are into the aggressive trades, I mean that's one, you know, just way too aggressive. I probably wouldn't bother with it. That's a first entry off the EMA. And now we're kind of moving, like we got that lower high right there. And then you get a reversal pattern right here. It's going to be, so there's two ways to see this. Maybe you're seeing this as a like kind of like a downtrend, but not really because it's catching support on this EMA. It's just too early to take a short. Really, what I'm seeing this as is more so of a like a range. That's really more so what I see in that. But there's a reversal pattern there, and that would have been a pretty decent trade, but can't really take that trade. So you can see we have this big uptrend. We're getting our first breakout sides. We want to see maybe we're going to retest the highs here pretty soon. That's not going to be a buy that we can use. And then right there, that's kind of like a breakout pullback right there. So let's just see kind of what happens now from here if we start going lower. I'm still expecting it to possibly test the highs, but we got to see how this plays out. And you can see it kind of, actually it doesn't, never mind. So now we've broken out of that channel, and that's that first entry to the low. And here's like a second entry short actually, but in this context, I want to see how prices are going to move to this high before I want to take a short right into that EMA. It looks like a pretty good setup though, but you know, just because I have this line on there doesn't mean I want to take shorts. I really want to trade the biggest pattern on my chart. So that's still going to be looking for a long somewhere up in here. And see, like right there, when it ticked one below, then came out to that other side, through that other side, I would have had a buy limit or buy stop waiting. You have to imagine real time. It ticks one below, then ticks back, then finally ticks through and closes up here. That's a good sign. It actually doesn't go far. I actually possibly that take a loss on that. If you enter on a limit, it's a 4-tick fail on a limit. And then actually, so depends on how you manage that trade. You almost get stopped out, but it doesn't tick past your signal bar. And then since this is our entry bar, I wouldn't have tightened my stop to any of these candles per se. Maybe I would have gotten out once I saw that congestion. Maybe I would have been spooked out or something. But my stop should be 1 tick below this green bar in every situation. So you never get stopped out, and it does eventually retest these highs and make a new high. So now that we have that break and a new high, we just want to look out for any consolidation and possibly reversal, or see if it's going to continue, see what's going to happen. I know one thing that I need to just check for, it's probably long gone now, is when it did start to break out, I should have measured this upper half of the range just to see. And you can see like we did get some stack up and some stuff around that breakout area. It wouldn't have really helped you much, but just something to note. Real low key, there's a low key second entry long right there, but that's an inside bar, tick away from the high. We already have the break move to a new high. It's too aggressive to buy that. But there's, see, that's a little second entry off that high. First entry, then when it breaks above, second entry. So we're just kind of waiting. None of this is really anything we can use. And then once we start closing below that EMA, I want to be quick to get a line on the chart. And you can see that we now we're getting that breakout side. There's the higher low, so it almost seems like it's kind of continuing on with the trend higher. Let's just see. Yeah, so it's kind of moving higher. So what I would do is that this didn't play out at all, so I just take that off. You can obviously see that there is a channel. I can just make it a little clearer. I don't typically like giving this a channel, but you can see there's a channel right there. We broke outside and we made a new high. So we kind of have the pattern repeat itself. And really all this is then it's like a breakout, 2 legs to a new high. I would probably measure this leg, it's leg 1, and just see if we continue on to make that measured move or not. And look at that. It almost it got that congestion. It's like a perfect measured move. And see the congestion right here. See what it does. So it starts to, yeah, see, and then it sells off. It almost makes a perfect measured move. So really, that's really what we like to see, is that we get a trend, there's a breakout, and then 2 legs to a new high. Perfect measured move. And then it sells off. So at this point, let's get one more bar, but basically there's a downtrend, micro trend right there. Nothing there. That's just the lower high. Pretty strong move, but that's, can't really use that. Here's a the reversal pattern, and we have a good leg down. We're closing. See, that's the difference I think between this reversal and this one right over here. Here we're still above that EMA, and honestly we're still in that big bull trend. But here there's already a micro trend moving down. We're closing below the EMA. The EMA is acting as resistance. That changes the narrative. So I see that trade, and I'd probably take that trade. That one shoots off. Get a nice runner on that one. Volume is kind of slowing down a little bit. It's not yeah, like we're not really getting that much action. So we just kind of have to wait, see what's going on. Um, you can see we're kind of made a higher low right there. There's a second entry short, but the way that bar triggers, that's not a great setup, so I'd probably skip it. Then right there you get that reversal pattern, but the only issue I kind of have with it is you can see we're going sideways right there. And we're going sideways right into the EMA. That could be an issue. It never triggers, so you wouldn't have been in, but just proving my point, that's kind of a sketchy place to go long. You can see the EMA is definitely acting as support, so what I want to do is try to see if I can find another trend line. Possibly we got something through here. Possibly we have something through there. So you can see we kind of have maybe a trend going down through there. And we get that breakout. So let's see if we get a second entry short. And that thing's pretty strong. So let's just chart it and see if we get a setup. And that thing just keeps going the other way. So really, I don't have to take this off the chart, but it didn't help us much. I'm going to start looking to play the long side. So probably there's a line right there. And so probably a little tight channel like that. So like right here, this is a reversal pattern. It's kind of like what we had down here though. There's some sideways action because the bar closes inside of this bar and that closes inside of that bar. So that's 3 inside bars in a row. And then, you know, buying at the highs of the days. Like if you are going to be aggressive and buy at the highs, I wouldn't buy this one just because we have the sideways stuff going on. There's not enough room to scalp out before the highs. You're nowhere near that EMA. This isn't the one I'd be aggressive on, so I definitely am skipping that one. Yeah, you get stopped out. No surprise there. Really, I wish this doji was a better signal bar because that's a pretty good long. See that second entry long? Off this high, first entry, pullback, second entry, that's a good setup. But that signal bar isn't that great. Pretty indecisive. I wouldn't have entered there. That one shoots off. What I'll look for is maybe we're going to get a measured leg. So leg 1 and leg 2. It's only about 20 minutes left in the trading day. I'd probably be done for the day. But let's see what happens all the way till close. So you already have this breakout, move to a new high. We need to be careful going long. See, like right here, if you buy, this is the first entry to the high. Not yet a good place to buy. See, it would have stopped you out. And then basically that gets us to noon. Here's a second entry right there, but I wouldn't take that. We're closing below this EMA. This could easily tick above and fail and trend down. It's not a good setup. I wouldn't take this setup at noon. So I'd be done. So if just to see, let's see how that plays out. There's probably like a trend line there. And you can see it never even triggers. So you wouldn't have been in unless you messed up and entered too soon. But it never even triggers and it's trending down. So that's pretty much all there was today. That's 12 o'clock. Not much more you can say. Here's a reversal pattern right there. See that reversal pattern? I probably want to take it, but there it is. Let's see if it works. And nah, it doesn't work. Kind of goes sideways. But see, like with this trade, if you would have entered on this bar, you could have been out 2 ticks above this bar, so you really wouldn't have taken much of a loss on this trade. And you had a couple opportunities to actually scratch the trade before, well, not before this big green bar. So you might not have been able to scratch. You didn't have too many opportunities to scratch, but there are a couple signs. Like see when this bar, it broke below, then closed back inside, you're supposed to scratch that trade right there. So you could have scratched that trade just off of the way the entry bar closed. And then if you didn't scratch off that entry bar, your stop should have been 2 ticks above that entry bar. So you could have really saved yourself some losses. But that's pretty much what I saw. It's like a lot of big moves, not a whole bunch of trades. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's not bad. 10 trades, that's not bad. You would have, it's not bad at all, actually. A lot of these had runners. Some of these you would just think get the right signal bar, but not a bad day. Pretty good trading day for me as well. So that's what I saw. I'll be back again tomorrow. It's Kamal Hart signing out.